My beloved child, I have watched you count the coins in your hand while I have been counting the stars in the heavens for you, and I see the weight that has pressed against your chest for so long. I have been there in the quiet, hollow hours of the night when the world is asleep, but your mind is racing, calculating debts, measuring the distance between what you have and what you need, and wondering if the cycle will ever truly break. I see the invisible chains of not enough that have bound your spirit, making you feel small, making you feel as though you must always wait at the threshold of others, generosity just to survive. But I have come to you in this sacred moment to tell you that the season of reaching out your hand to receive is coming to an end, and the season of opening your hand to pour out is beginning. You have been a borrower for long enough, carrying the heavy burden of obligation and the quiet shame that whispers you are a burden to this world. I am reaching into the very core of your circumstances today to initiate a divine reversal that no human bank or earthly logic can comprehend. I have heard your sighs, those deep, wordless prayers that escape your lips when you look at the bills or the empty spaces in your life, and I want you to know that your cries have not fallen on deaf ears. They have been gathered into the golden vials of heaven. For every tear you shed over a lack of resources, I am preparing a reservoir of abundance that will not only sustain you, but will overflow into the lives of everyone you touch. You are moving from the valley of deficit to the mountain of surplus. This is not merely about currency. It is about the posture of your soul. For years, you have lived in a state of survival, conditioned to think in terms of crumbs and fragments, but I am expanding your capacity to think in terms of harvests and storehouses. I am removing the spirit of anxiety that has become like a second skin to you. Do you feel it? That tightness in your throat when you think about the future. I am loosening it now with my own hand. I am replacing that frantic pulse of worry with the rhythmic heartbeat of my peace. You have worried that you are alone in this struggle, but I have been the silent partner in your every transaction, refining your character in the fire of lean times so that you would know how to handle the weight of the wealth I am about to entrust to you. If I had given you the surplus before you understood the value of the seed, you would have scattered it to the wind. But now, you are ready. You are ready to be a conduit of my grace. I am shifting the atmosphere of your home from one of "how will we make it" to "who can we help today?" This transition will be so swift and so complete that those who saw you in your season of lack will not recognize the person standing in the light of my favor. I am going to make you the head and not the tail, the lender and not the borrower. Imagine the freedom of waking up without the shadow of a debt hanging over your name. Imagine the joy of being the answer to someone else's desperate prayer. This is the miracle I am weaving into the fabric of your reality right now. Do not look at your current bank balance or the closed doors behind you. Look at me. I am the God who brings water from the rock and manna from the sky. I am the one who multiplies the loaves and the fish until there are baskets left over. Your life is about to become a testimony of my sufficiency. I am healing the loneliness that often accompanies financial struggle, for I know how you have isolated yourself to hide your needs. I am bringing you into a community of celebration where your light will shine brightly. Rest in me today, my precious child. The struggle is over, and the era of the great exchange has begun. You will no longer walk in the shadows of "not yet." You will run in the sunshine of more than enough. I love you with an everlasting love, and I have set my seal of prosperity upon your house. Believe it, receive it, and watch as I move the mountains that once stood in your way. I am breathing upon your finances even as you read these words. Do you feel the tension leaving your shoulders? That weight you have carried for so long, the one that felt like a physical iron yoke around your neck, is snapping under the weight of my anointing. For too many seasons, you have lived in the just enough or the not enough, catching your breath only to be hit by another wave of unexpected expenses. But I am the commander of the waves, and I am speaking peace, be still, over your stormy seas of debt. I have seen you in the quiet hours of the night, sitting at your kitchen table with a calculator and a heavy heart, trying to stretch pennies into dollars. I have seen the way you have quietly bypassed the things you desired, even the things you needed, so that your children or your loved ones would not have to go without. Your sacrifice has not been hidden from my eyes. Every seed of faithfulness you sowed when your own soil was parched is now coming to a harvest that will require bigger barns. This is not a temporary relief. It is a fundamental shift in your identity. I am removing the label of struggling from your name and replacing it with prosperous. I am removing the spirit of the beggar and replacing it with the spirit of the benefactor. You have been the one asking for extensions, but soon you will be the one granting them. You have been the one looking for a hand up, but I am positioning you to be the hand that reaches down to lift others from the mire. Think of the specific chains that have bound you, the interest rates that seem to devour your progress, the medical bills that felt like a mountain, the student loans that whispered you would never be free. I am going into those dark rooms of your financial history, and I am turning on the light. I am orchestrating divine cancellations and sudden settlements. You will receive phone calls and letters that do not demand, but instead restore. You will find that I have gone before you to settle accounts you thought were permanent burdens. I am doing this because I can trust you with the overflow. I am doing this because your heart is already aligned with my kingdom. You are not seeking wealth for the sake of pride or vanity. You are seeking it so that you can be a conduit of my mercy on this earth. I am looking for storehouses I can fill, and I have found one in you. Prepare your heart for the magnitude of this change. It will require a new way of thinking. You must cast off the poverty mindset that tells you to hoard every scrap out of fear that it won't come again. I am your source, and my supply is infinite. When you move into this season of lending, you will do so with a heart of joy, knowing that as you pour out, I am pouring back in, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I am opening doors to ideas and inventions, to promotions that skip levels, and to investments that yield 100-fold. You will find favor in the eyes of people you have never met. They will be compelled to bless you, to partner with you, and to open gates that were previously barred. This is the year where the borrower's shadow dissipates in the heat of my glory. I am healing the trauma that debt caused in your marriage and your family. I am restoring the sleep that anxiety stole. I am making you a pillar of strength in your community, someone others look to not just for resources, but for the wisdom that comes from having walked through the fire and emerged without the smell of smoke. Do not be afraid of the size of the blessing. It is not too much for me to give, and it is not too much for you to manage, for I will give you the spirit of counsel to steward it all. You are entering a time where your generosity will become your greatest legacy. You will fund missions. You will build homes for the homeless. You will pay off the debts of others just to see the look of hope return to their faces. This is the great exchange, your lack for my abundance, your sorrow for my joy, your borrowing for my lending. I am setting a table for you in the presence of your enemies, and your cup will truly run over. Stay close to me in this transition. Let my voice be the loudest sound in your life. As the numbers change in your bank account, let your character remain anchored in my humility. I am doing a new thing, and it is springing forth even now. Can you perceive it? It is the sound of chains falling. It is the sound of the lender walking through the door. I am with you. I am for you. And I am the one who provides for every need according to my riches in glory. This journey into more than enough has only just begun, and the wonders I have stored up for you will leave you breathless with gratitude. Rest now, for the battle for your provision has already been won at the cross. Look now at your hands, once calloused from the friction of pulling against a tide that seemed determined to sweep you away. I have smoothed those palms, not because the work has ended, but because the nature of the labor has changed. You spent years in the school of the deficit, learning the hard lessons of lack, and I watched you navigate those hallways with a quiet dignity that did not go unnoticed in the courts of heaven. I remember the specific Tuesday when you sat at your kitchen table, the light of a single bulb flickering, as you moved numbers around a page like chess pieces, trying to make the impossible possible. I was there in the silence after you turned off the lamp, when the weight of the world felt like a physical shroud. I felt the vibration of your sigh, the one that said, "How long, Lord?" And I want you to know that every one of those sighs was a prayer that reached my throne. The transition I am leading you into is not merely a change in your circumstances. It is a fundamental rewiring of your soul's posture. For too long, you have been defined by what you lacked, by the gaps in your safety net, and by the not yet of your dreams. But look, the horizon is changing color. I am washing away the residue of not enough from your mind. Do you feel the lightness in your chest when you wake? That is the absence of the debt cloud that used to follow you from room to room. I am teaching you the art of the overflow. Think of the woman you saw yesterday, the one whose eyes reflected the same panic you once knew. Soon, I will prompt you to walk toward her, not with a sympathetic word alone, but with the tangible answer to her crisis. You will reach into the abundance I have entrusted to you, and you will say, "This is handled." The shock on her face will be the mirror of my glory. You are becoming a conduit, a riverbed carved deep by the years of your own thirst, now ready to carry a torrent of my grace to a dry land. I am bringing you into rooms where you previously did not belong, not so you can blend in, but so you can change the atmosphere. You will sit among the powerful and the wealthy, yet you will carry a secret they do not have, the wisdom of the wilderness. They will ask you for your strategy, and you will speak of my faithfulness. They will ask for your secret to success, and you will tell them about the man of sorrows who became your Prince of Peace. Your lending will not be limited to currency. You will lend courage to the faint-hearted. You will lend your voice to those who have been silenced by their own poverty. I am giving you a vision for a legacy that outlives your name. I see you walking through the foundations of a building that does not yet exist, a place of healing, a place of refuge. And you will know that the brick and mortar were paid for by the miracles I am releasing into your hands today. Do not look back at the desert with longing or regret for the time lost. The years the locusts have eaten are being restored in a single season of supernatural acceleration. I am stretching your capacity to receive. It is easy to trust me when the jar is empty and you are desperate for a drop. It is a different kind of trust to remain humble when the jar is overflowing and the wine is the finest you have ever tasted. I am anchoring you in my heart so that as the numbers climb, your ego descends. You will be a rich steward rather than a rich man, for a steward knows that everything belongs to the Father. Can you feel the shift in the wind? The scent of rain is heavy in the air, but it is not a storm to fear. It is a deluge of favor. I am even now speaking to people who do not yet know your name, preparing them to be the carriers of your breakthrough. Contracts are being signed in the Spirit before the ink even touches the paper on earth. You will find that doors that were bolted shut for a decade will now swing open at the mere sound of your footsteps. This is not because of your perfection, but because of my promise. I have chosen you to be a testimony of what happens when a heart remains faithful in the dark. I am preparing your family for this too. The generational cycle of struggle ends with you. Your children will not know the borrower's anxiety that kept you awake. They will grow up in the atmosphere of the lender, learning that wealth is a tool for the kingdom and not a master to be served. We are walking together into the deep waters now. You do not need to tread water anymore. I have given you a vessel, and I am the wind in your sails. There is a specific project I am whispering to your heart, that impossible idea you tucked away in a drawer 3 years ago because you didn't have the capital. Go find that paper. Dust it off. The capital is coming, and with it, the divine connections to make it a reality. You are no longer waiting for a miracle. You have become the miracle that others are waiting for. Keep your eyes on me. The distractions of the world will grow louder as your influence increases, but my whisper will remain your North Star. We have so much more to do together, and the joy of the giving will far outweigh the relief of the receiving. As you transition into this new identity, I am rewriting the very fabric of your daily rhythm. Do you remember those nights when you would stare at the ceiling, calculating the cost of the coming week down to the very penny? I saw the beads of sweat on your forehead when the car made that strange, rattling noise, and I felt the constriction in your chest when the mailbox clattered with letters you were afraid to open. Those days were not wasted. They were the wilderness where I taught you the value of a single grain of manna. But the wilderness is behind you now, and the land of milk and honey requires a different set of muscles. You are learning to breathe deeply again, to expand your lungs without the sharp pang of anxiety. This shift from borrowing to lending begins in the quiet places of your soul where you once felt not enough. I am pouring my abundance into those hollowed-out spaces until they overflow. You will find yourself standing in line at the grocery store, and instead of nervously checking your balance on your phone, you will hear my nudge to pay for the person behind you. This is the first fruit of the lender's heart. It is a quiet authority that does not need to shout to be recognized. I am refining your discernment so that you will know the difference between a need and a greed, between an investment in a person's destiny and a temporary fix for their lack of discipline. You will become a steward of my resources, a distribution center for the kingdom. That project you tucked away, the one with the blueprints for a sanctuary where the broken could find rest and the young could find purpose, it is no longer a dream. I have already assigned the architects of your vision. I am bringing people into your path who have the technical skills you lack, and they will be drawn to your spirit like moths to a flame. You will notice a change in the way you carry yourself. The slumped shoulders of a debtor are being replaced by the upright posture of a provider. I am washing away the shame of the refused stamp and replacing it with the seal of my favor. Even your conversations will change. You will stop talking about what you cannot afford and start talking about what we can accomplish together. There is a specific meeting coming up, one that seems routine on your calendar, but I have hijacked that hour. You will go in expecting to ask for a favor, but you will leave having been offered a partnership. Do not be startled by the scale of what I am doing. When I move a mountain, I do not do it halfway. I am clearing the rubble of your past to lay a foundation that can support the weight of the millions I intend to flow through your hands. Your hands, which once trembled as they signed for loans, will now be steady as they sign grants and scholarships. I am teaching you the language of the surplus. It is a language of peace, of strategy, and of radical generosity. You will look back at your old ledgers not with pain, but with a sense of awe at how far we have come. I want you to revisit that old neighborhood, the one that represented your leanest years, and I want you to walk those streets with me. Feel the difference in the air. You are no longer a victim of the economy. You are an architect of a new one. I am also healing your physical body from the toll that years of financial stress have taken. The tension in your neck, the restless nights, the digestive issues that flared up every time a bill was due, I am smoothing those out with my hand of grace. You need a strong vessel to carry this new level of influence. As the capital begins to arrive, Do not let it change your heart. Let it only reveal the beauty that has been there all along. You will be a lender of hope to the hopeless, a lender of wisdom to the confused, and a lender of strength to the weary. There is a widow you know, someone who has been praying in secret for a miracle that seems small to the world, but is a mountain to her. I am going to use you to be the answer to that prayer. When you see the look in her eyes, you will finally understand why I led you through the valley of lack. You will realize that every moment of not having was preparing you to be the perfect vessel for giving. The world measures success by how much one accumulates, but I measure it by how much one is trusted to distribute. You have passed the test of the small things, and now I am entrusting you with the weight of the significant. This is not a heavy weight, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. It is the weight of glory. We are building a legacy that will outlive your physical presence on this earth. People will speak of your name not because of your wealth, but because of the way you used it to set others free. This is the true nature of the lender, one who breaks chains. I am with you in the boardroom, I am with you at the kitchen table, and I am with you in the quiet moments of the night when the vision becomes so big it takes your breath away. Trust me. I have never failed you in the lean times, and I certainly will not leave you now that the harvest is here. The wind is picking up, the sails are full, and the horizon is limitless. Let us go further into this grace. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat change, for it is no longer the frantic pulse of the pursued, but the steady, rhythmic beat of the provider. I remember the nights you sat at that small kitchen table, the one with the scratch on the corner where you used to rest your head when the numbers on the yellow legal pad wouldn't add up. I saw the way you counted the coins in the jar, hoping for a miracle that would just cover the light bill. You felt the cold sting of not enough in your bones, a chill that no blanket could truly warm. But those nights were not wasted. Every sigh was a seed, and every tear was a watering of the soil you are now standing upon. I allowed you to know the weight of the debt so that you would understand the lightness of the release. When you walk into that office tomorrow, don't look at the mahogany desk or the high-backed chair as symbols of your arrival. Look at them as tools for your assignment. The transition from borrowing to lending is not merely a change in your bank balance. It is a fundamental shift in your spiritual DNA. You are moving from the place of a supplicant to the place of a steward. Think back to the time you had to ask for an extension on your rent, the humiliation that burned in your chest like a physical fire. I have not forgotten that heat. I am using it now to forge a heart that is incapable of being calloused. You will see a young man in the lobby, his suit a little too large, his shoes polished but thin at the soles. To the world, he is just another applicant, another number in a spreadsheet. But to you, he is a mirror of who you were. You will not just offer him a job, you will offer him a ladder. You will see the tremor in his hands and you will know exactly what to say to steady them, because I spoke those same words to your spirit when no one else was listening. This is the beauty of the harvest. It is never just for the harvester. It is for the gleaners who follow in your wake. The widow I spoke of, her name is Martha. She lives in the house with the peeling blue paint on the corner of the street you used to avoid because it reminded you of your own struggles. She has been boiling water to keep the house warm because the furnace gave up its ghost weeks ago. She hasn't asked a soul for help, but her whispers have reached my ears, and I have appointed you to be the hands that bring the heat back into her home. You will not do it with a flourish of trumpets or a demand for recognition. You will do it with the quiet grace of one who knows that everything they have is a gift on loan from the Creator. As you sign the checks and authorize the transfers, do not let your hand shake. Do not let the old ghost of poverty whisper that this abundance is a temporary fluke that will vanish if you are too generous. That is the lie of the enemy, meant to keep you in a prison of your own making, even after the doors have been unlocked. My supply is not a cistern that runs dry. It is an artesian well that gains pressure the more it is tapped. The more you release, the more I will pour in, not because I want to make you a reservoir, but because I have found in you a clear and unobstructed pipe. We are going into the deep waters now. You will find yourself in rooms where decisions are made that affect the lives of thousands. Do not be intimidated by the jargon or the posturing of those who think they own the earth. They see the surface. You see the soul. I am giving you an eye for the unseen needs. You will notice the executive who is drowning in a secret addiction, and you will offer him the loan of your strength to find the path to recovery. You will notice the secretary whose child is struggling, and you will provide the wisdom that opens a door for that child's future. This is the true meaning of being a lender. It is the distribution of my essence into the cracks and crevices of a broken world. You are becoming a restorer of the breach. There were years when you felt like a ghost in your own life, moving through the world invisible because you had nothing to offer. But look at you now. You are vibrant, you are visible, and you are vital. I am stretching your capacity. Do not fear the expansion. It may feel like a tension in your spirit, a pulling of the old familiar boundaries, but it is necessary. You cannot hold the ocean in a thimble. I am making you a vast basin of grace. Remember the smell of the rain on the dry earth. That is what your presence will be to those who have been living in a drought. You are the answer to the prayers of people you have never even met. They are crying out for a sign, and I am sending you. As we move forward, keep your eyes on me. The distractions of wealth can be just as noisy as the distractions of want, but neither can touch the peace of the one who walks in my will. We are just beginning this chapter. The ink is still wet on the pages of your new life. There are continents of compassion yet to be explored, and I am leading you by the hand into every one of them. You remember the days of the tightening, do you not? Those mornings when you woke up and immediately felt the walls of your life pressing inward, as if the very air were a limited resource you had to hoard. You were a borrower of time, a borrower of smiles, constantly checking the balance of your emotional bank to see if you had enough left to survive the afternoon. But that season of drought was not a punishment. It was a preparation. It was the tilling of the soil so that when the rains finally came, your earth would be deep enough to hold them. Now, the rains have arrived. Can you feel the shift in the atmosphere? The wind no longer blows against you, it carries you. You are entering a phase where your pockets will never be empty, not because you are hoarding wealth, but because you have finally understood that my supply is a river, not a reservoir. To lend is to trust the flow. Consider the woman you will meet tomorrow at the post office, the one with the frayed coat and the eyes that reflect 1,000 sleepless nights. In your past, you would have looked at your shoes, fearing her desperation might cling to you like a shadow. But now, you will look her in the eye. You will lend her the dignity of being seen. You will offer her a word of such specific kindness that it will feel like a warm blanket around her shivering soul. This is the lending of sanctuary. You are becoming a place where others can find rest. Think of the businessman who sits in the office next to yours, the one who hides his trembling hands beneath expensive mahogany desks. He is drowning in the fear of failure, a borrower of false confidence. You will walk into his space, not with a contract or a demand, but with the lending of perspective. You will speak of things that do not rust or fade, and your calm will become his anchor. You are no longer the one searching for a harbor, you are the lighthouse. I am teaching you the secret language of the heart, the one that translates my abundance into the currency of this world. There will be moments when the old fear tries to whisper to you, if you give this away, what will be left for you? In those moments, I want you to look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap, yet I feed them. How much more will I do for you, my chosen vessel of grace? You are beginning to lend your courage to the youth in your neighborhood who has forgotten how to dream. You will sit with him on that weathered porch, the smell of jasmine heavy in the evening air, and you will recount the stories of how I brought you through your own Red Seas. Your testimony is a loan that he will use to build a foundation for his own future. You are lending him the possibility of a tomorrow that is not defined by his yesterday. This is why I have been expanding your capacity. It was never just about your comfort. It was about your commission. I am placing you in the path of the broken-hearted, the weary, and the forgotten. You will find yourself in grocery store aisles and quiet hallways, prompted by a nudge that feels like a heartbeat, and you will find the right words, the right gesture, the right silence. Yes, even silence can be lent. You will lend your quiet to the mother whose home is a battlefield of noise and chaos. You will take her children for an hour, or simply sit with her while she breathes, and in that lent silence, she will find the strength to continue. Your life is becoming a masterclass in the economy of heaven. In this economy, the more you release, the more you receive. It is a paradox that the world cannot grasp, but your heart is beginning to beat in rhythm with it. You are discovering that you are a co-creator of miracles. When you lend your patience to the clerk who is struggling with the register, you are not just being polite. You are weaving a thread of my peace into the fabric of their day. When you lend your forgiveness to the person who can never pay you back, you are breaking a chain that has bound generations. You are moving into the deep waters now, the shore where you once stood, begging for scraps of validation, is fading from view. Before you lies a vast horizon where the sun never sets on my provision. Do not be afraid to be generous with your soul. You cannot deplete the infinite. Every time you extend your hand to help another up, I am strengthening your own grip on the eternal. You will notice that your own needs are being met in ways that defy logic, checks appearing when you least expect them, doors opening that were previously bolted shut, and a health in your bones that you haven't felt in decades. This is the byproduct of the lending life. When you become a conduit for my blessings, the conduit itself is always washed in the flow. Keep your hands open. Do not clench them around your time, your talents, or your treasure. A closed hand can neither give nor receive. I am teaching you the beauty of the open palm. We are walking together through the gardens of those who have been neglected, and together we will plant seeds of hope that will grow into forests of redemption. You are my partner in this restoration. You are the one I have chosen to represent my heart in the marketplace. Every encounter is a divine appointment, a chance to lend a piece of the heaven I have placed within you. Rest tonight in the knowledge that you are well supplied for the journey. The ink is rich, the pages are turning, and the story we are writing together is one of profound transformation. You are no longer the one waiting for a miracle. You have become the miracle that someone else has been waiting for. Wake tomorrow with the dawn, and notice how the light hits the corners of your room. It is no longer just a space where you hide from the world's demands, but a sanctuary where you are refueled for the world's needs. Do you remember the years of clutching your prayer beads with white-knuckled desperation, asking when the tide would finally turn for you? That tide has not only turned, it has become a steady, rising ocean within your chest. Feel the weight of it not as a burden, but as the gravity of a star. You are entering the season of the suddenly. Suddenly, the phone will ring, and it won't be a bill collector or a bearer of bad news, but a soul whose heart is parched, instinctively sensing that you have a well. When they speak, do not scramble for the right words or worry that you might say the wrong thing. I will breathe through your lungs. The wisdom I have distilled in you through the long winters of your own lack is now ready to be poured out like a vintage wine. Consider the woman you saw yesterday in the grocery store, the one whose eyes were fixed on the floor as she calculated the cost of the bread in her cart. In your previous chapter, you would have felt a pang of shared poverty, a communal sigh of "I know that struggle." But now, I am whispering to you a different command. You are the one who can reach out, not just with a coin, but with a look of such profound recognition and dignity that her spine straightens. You are lending her your strength until her own returns. This is the currency of the kingdom. It is a gold that does not tarnish and a silver that never loses its value. You will find that as you give away your peace to the anxious colleague who paces the hallway outside your office, your own internal stillness deepens. You are like the widow's jar of oil. The more you pour, the more there is to be found at the bottom. I am stretching your capacity. What used to exhaust you, the emotional labor of being present, will now energize you, because you are no longer drawing from your own shallow cistern. You are plugged into the great reservoir. Think of the projects you abandoned because you felt you didn't have enough capital, whether that was time, creative energy, or favor. I am calling those dead dreams out of the tomb. Look at them again with the eyes of a lender. You have enough now to fund the vision. You have enough to be the patron of your own purpose. When you sit at your desk tonight and look at your calendar, do not see a list of obligations that drain you. See a ledger of investments. Every hour you spend listening to a child's story, every moment you dedicate to refining your craft, every dollar you set aside to bless a stranger, is a seed planted in a soil that I have personally fertilized. You are moving past the anxiety of "will I have enough?" into the majesty of "how much can I release?" This is the freedom I have always intended for you. It is the freedom of the river that does not ask the mountain for permission to flow, but simply follows the pull of the sea. There will be moments when the old shadows of scarcity try to whisper in your ear. They will remind you of the times you were turned away, the times you were the one begging for a crumb of recognition or a moment of grace. When those shadows come, do not argue with them. Simply show them your hands. Show them how full they are. Your hands have been washed in the waters of my favor, and the scars of your past have become the channels through which my light shines brightest. You will find that you are being invited into rooms you didn't even know existed, boardrooms where decisions are made, quiet kitchens where hearts are broken, and vast stages where truth is spoken. In every room, your role is the same. Be the one who brings the extra. Bring the extra patience that the tired waiter needs. Bring the extra belief that the discouraged entrepreneur is missing. Bring the extra love that the lonely neighbor has forgotten is possible. I am even changing your physical constitution to match this new role. That heaviness in your shoulders is being replaced by a mantle of authority. The restless sleep is giving way to a deep, restorative rest because you no longer have to worry about the how. The how belongs to me. The who belongs to you. You are the who I have sent to change the atmosphere of your family, your workplace, and your city. Watch how the people around you begin to change simply by being in your presence. They will start to feel a hope they can't quite explain. They will start to dream again because they see you dreaming, not as a beggar, but as a benefactor of the spirit. We are moving into the deep woods now, where the ancient trees have stood for centuries. They do not worry about the rain or the sun. They simply stand and provide shade for everything beneath them. That is you. You are becoming a great tree. Your roots have found the hidden stream, and your branches are heavy with fruit that you will never have to eat alone. Stay with me in this silence. Feel the power of the lending life settling into your marrow. There is so much more I want to show you about the riches that have been tucked away in your name, waiting for the moment you were ready to give them away. Listen to the silence of these deep woods. It is not the silence of an empty room, but the vibrant, humming quiet of a storehouse waiting to be opened. You have spent decades walking the perimeter of your own potential, always checking the gates, always wondering if the supplies would last the winter of your soul. But I am leading you past the perimeter and into the heart of the estate. Do you feel the shift in the ground beneath your feet? The soil is richer here. The air is thick with the scent of pine and ancient promises. This is the place where the borrower dies and the lender is born. For too long, you have functioned on the economy of not yet and maybe tomorrow. You have lived as though your joy were on a high-interest loan, something you had to pay back with seasons of sorrow. But I am tearing up those false contracts. You do not owe the darkness anything. You are not a tenant in your own life. You are the steward of my abundance. Look at your hands in this soft, dappled light. They have been conditioned by years of reaching out to grab, to hold, to keep. Now I am teaching them the muscularity of the open palm. The strength required to hold something tightly is nothing compared to the strength required to keep it open, trusting that the flow will never cease. This is the lending life. It is the life where you walk into a room and your first thought is no longer, "Who will notice me?" but "Who here needs the light I am carrying?" You are becoming a person of such profound surplus that the needs of others no longer feel like a threat to your own survival. Think of the person who has been draining your patience, that specific individual whose name just crossed your mind. In the old season, they were a thief of your peace. In this new season, they are simply a customer at the bank of your grace. You have so much grace stored up now that their demands are but a withdrawal that doesn't even move the decimal point of your reserves. I am adjusting your internal vision. You used to see a mountain of bills and feel a mountain of weight. Now, you will see the mountain and know you own the quarry. I am giving you the eye of the benefactor. When you see a broken relationship in your family, you won't pull back in fear of being wounded. You will move forward because you have the extra forgiveness they lack. You are lending them your stability while their own foundations are shaking. You are lending them your hope while theirs is in the grave. Remember the nights you cried out for a sign. You were asking for a crumb from the table. I was waiting for you to realize you are the one I have commissioned to set the table. The transition from borrowing to lending is often felt first in the small, quiet moments. It is the moment you decide to listen to a friend for an hour, even when you are busy, because you know your time is anchored in my eternity. It is the moment you give away that secret dream or that physical resource, not because you have to, but because you are so full it has become uncomfortable to keep it all to yourself. The heaviness you felt in your chest for years, that phantom pressure, was actually the pressure of unused miracles. They were bottled up inside you, waiting for the vessel to be strong enough to handle the pour. I had to temper you in the secret places. I had to let you experience the not enough, so that you would forever recognize the more than enough as my signature. We are walking deeper now, past the trees that have seen 100 years, toward the ones that have seen 1,000. These trees do not compete for the sun, they simply reach. They do not hoard the rain, they drink what they need and let the rest filter down to the moss and the ferns. You are learning the biology of blessing. It is a circulatory system, not a reservoir. If the blood stops moving, the body dies. If the blessing stops moving, the spirit withers. But you are a conduit. You are a golden pipe connected to an infinite sea. Do not be afraid when people begin to notice the change. They will come to you for advice, for money, for comfort, for a reason to keep going. In the past, this would have exhausted you. You would have felt like a well being pumped dry. But now, you will feel a strange, exhilarating energy with every act of giving. The more you lend of your spirit, the more the spirit rushes in to refill the space. It is a divine paradox. The only way to keep what I have given you is to give it away as fast as possible. I'm even changing the way you speak. Your words are moving from the subjunctive to the declarative. No more I hope or if only. You will begin to say, "It is well, and provision is on the way, and you are healed." You aren't just making wishes, you are issuing credits from the treasury of heaven. You are lending your faith to those whose voices have gone hoarse from screaming into the void. Stay close to me in this walk. The deeper we go into these woods, the less you will rely on the maps of the world. The world's maps are for those who are searching for something they don't have. Your map is for those who are learning how to distribute what they have already found. Feel the marrow of your bones becoming dense with this new authority. You are no longer a guest in the house of grace. You are the one holding the keys to the pantry. There is a specific treasure I have hidden in a hollow tree just ahead, a secret piece of your identity that you could only receive once you stopped asking for permission to exist and started accepting your appointment to provide. We are almost there. Keep your heart open. The how is already finished. The who is standing right here, walking beside me. As we approach the gnarled roots of this ancient oak, I want you to look back at the trail we have blazed, not with regret, but with the eyes of a master architect reviewing the sketches of a finished foundation. Do you remember the nights in that small, quiet room on Elm Street? The way the shadows of the Venetian blinds looked like bars on a cage while you sat with your bank statements and your heavy heart. You were borrowing time then, borrowing breath, just trying to survive until the next sunrise. You felt like a beggar at the gates of your own life, but look at your hands now. They are no longer trembling with the cold of not enough. They are warm, radiating a heat that comes from a furnace you did not build and a fuel you do not have to purchase. We are at the tree now. Reach into the hollow, past the moss and the damp scent of earth. What you find there is not a scroll or a coin, but a signet ring. It fits only the finger of one who has died to the need for approval. This is the seal of a lender. When you press this seal upon a situation, you are not asking for a result. You are authorizing a reality. The seasons of your life where you had to scrape together enough courage just to walk into a grocery store or face a difficult conversation are behind you. Now, when you enter a room, the atmosphere will begin to borrow from you. The frantic will borrow your stillness. The confused will borrow your clarity. You will find yourself standing in line at a coffee shop, and without saying a word, the person ahead of you will feel a sudden, inexplicable urge to forgive a 10-year-old grudge. That is your spirit lending its surplus to their poverty. I am teaching you the art of the divine overdraw. In the world's economy, if you give what you do not have, you go bankrupt. In mine, when you give what you do not have, I create it in the very moment of the transfer. Do you remember how you used to pray? You used to plead, "Lord, please help me make it through the week." That was the prayer of a borrower. Now your prayer is becoming a decree. I release peace into this household. I command the spirit of lack to depart from this family. You are realizing that the storehouse isn't somewhere in the clouds. It is located in the resonance of your own voice. Feel the weight of this new mantle. It is heavier than the cloak of the victim, but it is a weight that gives you traction, not a weight that holds you down. We are moving into a clearing now, and I want you to notice the change in the light. It is no longer coming from above the canopy. It is beginning to emanate from the path itself, beneath your feet. This is because you are no longer searching for the light. You are carrying it. Think of the people I am bringing to your mind right now. The brother who hasn't spoken to you in years. The coworker who hides their trembling hands under the desk. The neighbor whose house has grown silent and dark. You used to avoid them because you were afraid their darkness would infect your small candle. But now, you are a bonfire. You can afford to let them take a coal. You can afford to let them warm themselves by your joy. Your joy is no longer a fragile thing dependent on the weather or the stock market. It is a structural pillar of your being. I am refining your memory even as we walk. All those years you thought were wasted in waiting, in debt, in heartbreak, they were actually your apprenticeship in empathy. You cannot be a successful lender of grace if you have never known the crushing weight of a spiritual debt you could not pay. I allowed you to feel the bottom of the barrel so that when you see others there, you won't look down on them with pity, but reach down to them with the authority of someone who knows the way out. This is why your touch is becoming different. When you lay a hand on a shoulder, You are transferring more than human comfort. You are transferring a lineage of victory. You are telling their soul, I have been where you are and I have come back with the keys. Here, take some of mine. This intimacy we share is the secret to the infinite supply. As long as you stay tucked into my side, you are connected to the source of all atoms, all ideas, and all peace. You don't have to worry about running out of kindness or running out of patience. Can a river run out of water as long as the mountains keep melting? I am your mountain, and I am melting into you. Look at the specific details of your coming days. That meeting on Tuesday that used to fill you with dread. You will walk in not as someone looking for a paycheck or a promotion, but as the wealthiest person in the room, wealthy in spirit, wealthy in perspective, wealthy in the ability to listen. You will lend your focus to the unheard and your dignity to the dismissed. You will see their faces change as they realize they are being seen through my eyes, through your gaze. This is the true meaning of being a priest in the earth. You are the bridge over which the abundance of the unseen world travels to reach the scarcity of the seen. Don't be afraid of the demands that will soon be placed upon you. The more people ask of you, the more I will pour through you. It is a beautiful, rhythmic dance. You will go to bed exhausted in the body but electric in the spirit, knowing that you have emptied yourself so completely that I have no choice but to fill you with a new, higher grade of glory while you sleep. We are transitioning from the woods of seeking into the fields of distribution. The air is thinner here, but it is purer. Every breath you take is a reminder that you are no longer a consumer of grace, but a distributor of it. I want you to stop and feel your heart for a moment. Do you feel that steady, rhythmic thrum? It isn't just pumping blood, it is pulsing with the heartbeat of heaven. It is saying, more than enough, more than enough, more than enough. Say it with me. Let the words vibrate in your chest until the last vestiges of the borrower's mindset crumble into ash. You are the lender now. You are the one who provides the hope that others can't find. You are the one who speaks the word that breaks the deadlock. I have prepared you for such a time as this, not to be a monument to my past work, but to be a movement of my present power. We are stepping out into the open now, and the horizon is wider than you ever imagined. There are cities that need your peace. There are lineages that need your prayers. There are broken systems that need your quiet, steady integrity. You are the one I am sending to pay the ransoms of the bound. Keep walking. The best is not just yet to come. The best is currently flowing out of you. Look at your hands. For years they were cupped upward, a silent plea for a crumb, a fragment, a sign that you were not forgotten. You moved through the world with a subtle flinch, expecting the bill to come due or the well to run dry. But look again. Those hands have flattened and turned over. They are no longer basins, they are conduits. Do you see the gold in the creases of your palms? It is not the gold of the earth that can be stolen or devalued. It is the currency of my presence. I have rewritten your spiritual ledger. The red ink of insufficiency has been washed away by the living water of my it is finished. You used to wake up wondering if you had enough energy to make it to noon, if your patience would hold, if your faith would stretch across the gap of your circumstances. Now, you wake up as a sovereign of the day. You don't ask the morning for mercy. You command the morning to yield its blessings for those who cross your path. I am taking you back to the places where you used to beg, not to gloat, but to heal. You will walk into that old office where you felt invisible, and your very presence will be a loan of dignity to the ones still laboring under the weight of not enough. You will sit at the tables where you once felt like an intruder, and you will pick up the tab of the broken-hearted. This is the shift, beloved. The lender does not worry about the supply because the lender is backed by the treasury of the infinite. Think of the woman you saw yesterday, the one whose eyes were heavy with the weight of an unpaid rent of the soul. In the old season, you would have looked away because you had no extra to give. But today, you felt that pull, didn't you? That gentle, insistent tug in your spirit. That was your new authority rising. You gave her a smile that was actually a down payment on her hope. You spoke a word of encouragement that acted as a bridge over her troubled water. You didn't lose anything by giving it. In fact, the moment the word left your lips, the reservoir within you surged. This is the physics of my kingdom. The more you release, the more the pressure of my glory builds behind your heart, demanding more outlets. Remember the ledger you used to keep in the back of your mind, the one where you tracked every slight, every debt owed to you, every time life treated you unfairly. Burn it. You are so wealthy in me now that you can afford to be wronged. You can afford to let the debt go. You can afford to be the one who loves more, the one who forgives first, the one who stays when others flee. You are no longer protecting a fragile ego. You are distributing a robust grace. Your lineage is changing in this very moment. I am reaching back through the DNA of your ancestors, through the generations of borrowers who lived in the fear of the harvest failing. I am snapping those chains of ancestral lack. Your children and your children's children will not know the hollow ache of the seeker's belly. They will inherit the distributor's mantle. They will grow up in a house where the air is thick with the scent of plenty. You are the pivot point. You are the one who stopped the cycle. As you walk through these fields of distribution, notice how the grass bows toward you. The creation recognizes its steward. I have given you the keys to the storehouses of peace, of clarity, and of creative solutions. When you encounter a problem that seems like a brick wall, do not look for a way over it. Stand before it and realize you have the resources to buy the field and tear the wall down. You are the lender of perspective. You are the one who provides the calm in the middle of the board meeting, the one who brings the rhythm of the Sabbath into a frantic Tuesday afternoon. I am even touching your physical finances, but do not be distracted by the paper. The paper is merely a shadow of the substance. The substance is your shift from a victim of the economy to a victor of the kingdom. You will find yourself being interrupted by people who just need to be near you. They won't know why, but they will feel the warmth of your excess. Do not turn them away. You have more than enough. You have more than enough for the orphan's lonely heart, for the widow's quiet house, and for the stranger's directionless journey. You are my hand extended. You are the visible evidence of my invisible provision. So, take a deep breath. Feel the expansion in your lungs. There is no more suffocating tightness of how. There is only the wide-open expanse of here I am. We are going to the places that have been dry for decades. You and I, walking together, turning the desert into a garden. You are not just surviving the famine, you are the one who ended it. The sun is setting on the era of your struggle, and it is rising on the era of your significance. Every step you take now is a signature of my favor on the earth. Go forth, my lender, my distributor, my beloved. The world is waiting for what only you can provide, and I have made sure your supply will never, ever run dry.